DJ C Major with the flavor.
All right, Andre.
Yes.
I don't want you to get starstruck today, okay?
Yeah,
Do
I'm
not get
starstruck.
starstruck.
No, I'm excited about this show here. I've been waiting on this one.
He is excited. This is Contemporary Living with Farmer and Hill, and we are so delighted that you could join our show. But not only you joining our show, we have a very special guest. Andre, tell him, drum roll, please. Tell them who it is.
We have Brian the Wildcat Smith.
Yes.
Before we even get started, we want to give a shout out to Julie's Gaming Cafe
Yes.
over here in Richmond Park, located at 3707 Salt Trail. We appreciate them for letting us record here today.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So our next guest, we've seen him first at, what's it, Jokes and Notes?
Jokes and Notes.
Jokes and Notes you took me to. That's when I first noticed the young man. And then we seen him again. Your friend Henrietta Hill had an event in Matson.
Yeah, he clowned on. Oh my goodness, he clowned on.
I think WBON helped host this event. But that's the second time I've seen him. Seen him 3 weeks ago. He was on Showtime, the Shaquille ONeal All-Star Comedy Jam.
Yep.
So we seen him on there. Man, this guy is funny. You heard it right here on Contemporary Living. He is the next best great thing in comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian the Wildcat Smith. How you doing?
Hey, I'm all right. I'm good.
Yeah. So Brian, you have to let us know who influenced you. What made you start this?
I like the greats. You know, Red Fox. Of course, Bill Cosby. Before the scandals. Still love you, Bill. Lenny Bruce, Bernie Mac. More currently, Damon Williams has always been a mentor of mine. Dave Chappelle, you know, people that think outside the box, you know.
Yeah.
So you got to. Before we go any further, tell us a little bit about you, your background, where you from.
We know you're funny, but what's on the inside? What's going on?
Grew up in Harvey, Illinois, south suburb of Chicago.
Okay.
You can call it a suburb if you want. I don't know if it's that suburban nowadays. Got my start in high school. Joined the speech team, Thornton Township in Harvey. I did original comedy. I did humorous duet acting, a little special occasion speaking. At the time, I didn't know, I was preparing myself for a career, but I did that. Did pretty good, second in state. Third in state, and just kind of no matter what I did, it just kept coming back to comedy,
Right. It's funny you mentioned Harvey. I'm originally from Harvey myself. Went to Thornton.
Okay.
I did have speech. I had Miss Grazita when I was at Thornton.
Miss Grazita was actually the teacher who got tired of me interrupting the class.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's a small world.
Yeah, and she said, hey, either I'm gonna call your mama. Or you gonna join the speech team?
Right.
And this was back in the days, like, don't call my mama. Like, call the police. But don't call my mama. And yeah, Miss Grazita was the first person in high school to really see that I had talent and wanted to give me a vehicle to kind of channel that.
Wow, this is a small world. We had Lamont Brown January.
Okay.
Then 2 months ago we had the owners of Red Vodka.
Tanisha and Kim.
Tanisha and Kim.
Yeah.
Also from Harvey. Now we got Brian the Wildcat Smith. Man, Harvey just had.
Harvey world blowing up.
I know, they just loaded with talent.
Come on.
Yes.
I'm from the low end of Chicago, so.
Okay. Right. The low end. Yes.
4800 South King Drive. It's known now as Bronzeville.
Right. Yeah, fancy name for the low end.
It was. Right. So I want to ask a serious question. It's a general question about comedy. So I was watching television one day, and I remember they had interviewed a comedian, and he talked about like comedians are really the saddest people, and one of the ways they use comedy as a vehicle. Like even Kevin Hart did laugh at my pain or something like that. But they say that like some comedians are really depressed, and this is the way that they get, that's their therapy. It's their therapy.
Yeah.
So do you see any truth to that?
Oh, definitely. it brings out the smile in you, but a lot of times, you know, living this life, it can get lonely. You know, you do get depressed. You have to constantly prove yourself each night that you're funny. They say you're only as good as your last show. But yeah, a lot of comics, the pressure, it gets to a lot of comics. And, you know, a lot of the jokes come from a dark place. We just find a way to shed some light on it, you know.
Oh, wow.
It's just funny how it all works. Like, you bring us, like, comedians bring us so much joy and laughter.
Yes.
But, you know, maybe on the inside, that's something to look at. You know, hug a comedian. That's what I say. If you know a comedian, hug a comedian, because you don't know what they're going through.
Yes, shake my hand with a $5 tip.
Yeah, you know, my wife always talk about, we watch a lot of comedy, and she be cracking up.
I know.
Yeah, and she's like, that ain't funny to you. She's like, who make you laugh? And you actually one of the comedians that make me laugh. You, I love some Bruce. I tell her I love Paul Mooney because he's just straightforward.
Man.
You know, you are one of the rare comedians that makes me laugh.
Thank you. That's a good thing. My landlord is counting on that.
Is that right?
He's probably watching it.
So Brian, you got to tell us, how do you mentally prepare for your shows? Walk us through your life when it's time for you to get on that stage. It's time for you to perform. What are your rituals? How do you prepare yourself?
Comedy's a mental sport. So the day of my show, I try to relax. You know, I may try to watch something unrelated to kind of get my mind off of it. I am a student of the arts, so I may watch some stand-up. I'll even though I know the majority of my jokes, I'll write a joke list. I won't write the whole joke out. I'll just write the title of the joke and kind of go over it, you know, visualize what I want to do. I may listen to my audio. I tape a lot of my sets. So just kind of preparing yourself mentally. And then it's a new part of the preparation, because when you get to the venue, now you have to view the crowd. You know, you have to survey what's happening. I might sit in the audience and just listen to what people are saying, you know, to kind of pick up on the vibe. Because a lot of times as a comic, you have these jokes in your head that you want to do, but then you get there and you're like, maybe I need to change something up. So I think the ritual, it lasts all the way up until you get on the stage.
Wow.
Now I noticed I was on your website, Fivetime Apollo winner.
Woo.
Then 2015, you won the Shaquille ONeal All-Star comedy thing.
Comedy shirt.
So, man, how did it feel? You know, to win Apollo 5 times, you got to be good.
Apollo's a trip. It is a trip, man. I won that 5 times. And then they brought me back for like a championship thing with Michael Blackson. And I got booed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was just like the old lady with the curls stood up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know if the Sandman came out, but it was a humbling experience. And that's the thing. It was a lot of people that saw me win, but there were more people that didn't see me win. They saw me get booed. And then I'm going through that. I mean, I'm out in New York and I'm trying to deal with it. Then, you know, a few weeks later it aired, and I'm getting all these calls from my auntie, baby, you okay? That was wrong what they did to you. And then you go through that, and then after I get over that, then they show the rerun of me getting booed. So I had to go through that again. But I learned a lot from that experience. You got to put your best foot forward. When you do shows like that, a lot of times they don't turn over the crowd. So you're doing it 4 or 5 times, you might have the same audience. So instead of kind of, you know, doing what I did when I aired before, I tried some new material. It was bad. Wow. It was real bad, but all motivation. When I won the Shaq AllStars, it's a funny story. My friend Romello Barnes, we sat on the phone for about an hour. Him trying to convince me to get in this competition. I really didn't like competitions. I felt like the majority of them are rigged. You know, it's crowd participation, so whoever wins is the people that brought their cousins, you know, their aunties, they stacked the room. So we sat, And he was like, man, you could really win this thing. And, you know, I got into it. They took maybe about 40, 50 comics from probably about 10, 15 cities.
Wow.
You win in your city, and then they flew us to LA for the finals. Then I won there. And that was a defining moment in my career because I've been doing it a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't always get those pats on the back.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a serious pat on the back. Shout out to Tamara Goins and
Okay.
Valerie and
Yes.
Mary Lindsay from Jokes and Notes, man. That was
Mary Lindsay.
yeah, that was a special moment, man. It was surreal.
That
was
was
surreal, but it
awesome.
was definitely a blessing.
Man, wow.
Well, you know what? I was going to ask him. I was going to ask you. Have you been heckled before? But I think that probably would have to be your worst experience
Well,
at the Apollo.
Yeah, you get heckled from time to time by audience members. And a lot of times they actually think they're doing you a favor by giving you impromptu material when they're actually messing up the show.
Because you got your material, right?
Yeah, I got stuff I want to do.
You can put a prop or a person to,
They gave me a mic. They gave you a seat. It's a message in that. My buddy Damon always says that. But yeah, getting heckled is something that happens. It doesn't happen a lot now. But I think getting booed definitely topped everything.
Wow, yeah.
Because you could get booed at a comedy show, and it's one thing.
Yeah.
To get booed on TV, it's like,
Yeah.
I got booed in front of the whole nation.
Right.
You know,
right.
so it's learning experiences. You have to think ahead. It's almost like chess. So you got to think, okay, if somebody heckles me, what am I gonna do? Do I have set jokes that I use sometimes? If I could see the person, it helps out. I can tell what they're wearing, what they look like.
Right.
But it's a rough part of the game, and I want to let everybody know you're not helping people when you heckle. We having a rough set. Just leave us alone. Don't make it worse by heckling people. But normally the hecklers are people that want to do comedy. They just don't have the courage to get up there.
Well, yeah, everybody can't do comedy. We went to an event last night at the entrance.
In Harvey.
In Harvey, yeah. And the comedian was not funny whatsoever.
Oh, wow. I know that guy. It's a small world.
But you know what? He's a great host.
But
That's what. Yeah.
But when they stopped playing,
He was an awesome
he was a great
host.
host. But a comedy
it was
just
a little rough.
Maybe it wasn't his night.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't his night.
Yeah, it's so funny he said that. I know who it was. I'm sorry. It happens, man. It happens.
Now you know. No.
It's funny, before she asked her question,
I've got a follow-up question.
You got to follow. Go with your follow-up.
Okay, my follow-up to that is, when you're doing comedy all across the nation, all over the world, are there cultural different, because North may be different from the South when you're doing which may be different from East Coast, West Coast. Do you have to keep that in mind? And how are Midwesterners? As a Midwesterner, I want to know.
Midwesterners are funny people. The thing about traveling to other places is you really have to diversify your portfolio, if you will. And it's not that it's necessarily not funny, it's just, is it relatable?
Yeah.
Because you go outside of Chicago and they don't have like mild sauce. They don't put lemon pepper on everything. They might not be familiar with the gangs and certain Chicago terms. So you have to write from a general approach, and if you're in an area where maybe they don't know what you're talking about, you just bring them into your world. You have to explain the joke a little more. But yeah, I love traveling. It's my favorite. I love the West Coast. West Coast, East Coast. I love the cities where it's a melting pot of cultures. You get people from everywhere. But it's fun to do it and test your material in those markets to where it's like, it might be funny to Chicago because I can throw out different references. A lot of the people know me. But I'm talking about, Cedar Lake, Indiana. I did a show out there at Goodfellas, all Caucasian crowd. And like they watched me like I was on a float. Like from the time I got into town, it was like, They must be having a GED course in town or something. But yeah, you really have to consider where you're at.
Yeah.
You may have to do a little more articulation, less profanity in different spots. But yeah, it's definitely a craft, and each crowd requires a custom approach, if you will.
Yeah.
Now you did something for troops too, am I correct? Military troops? I did read that.
I had the pleasure of going to Germany. We did some stuff in Belgium. We did some stuff in Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at the Army bases, Air Force bases. And it's cool because even though the American soldiers, that world over there is completely different. You know, the things, the news, the way of life, everything is different. So it was good to kind of bring them some laughter because I'm definitely not joining the military. So.
Well, my wife, she's retired. She did over 20 years, and she was in Germany as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spent 5.5 years in Germany, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Man, Rammstein, Spangdahlem, and all that. Yeah.
Italy, you went everywhere.
Yeah. It was
That
fun
is
over
so
there.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for serving the truth.
Thank you for your service.
We said we
I was
going to
cracking
go to Germany
jokes.
next year.
Yeah.
We're going to go hang out in Germany next year.
I like
She always
Germany.
talking about it.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So how is it hanging out with the likes of Shaquille ONeal, Bill Bellamy, Bruce? Are y'all cracking jokes? Are y'all competing with each other when y'all around each other?
It's not always like that. Sometimes, we crack jokes. When I met Shaq, it was weird because Shaq is like 7'2".
Right.
So he was sitting down, and I walked up, and he was still taller than me, sitting down. And it was crazy because I walked in, I just happened to have on a pair of Jordans. I don't normally buy expensive shoes. I walked in, he saw my shoes. He was like, "Yeah, man, you see them talking about? They spent all that money on them shoes. They can get 10 pairs of my shoes." I'm like, "Shaq, there ain't nobody wearing your shoes, man. Where can you even buy a pair of Shaqs? Like Walmart, Payless, I don't know." But he had on a pair of Toms, actually. I was like, wow. But Shaq was a real cool dude, man. He was
Payless.
real cool.
You can get him at Payless.
All right, Shaq, I'm going to go buy a pair, man, just for you. But he was real cool. Bill Bellamy was real cool. Bruce was real cool. More or less, it depends on when you meet them. If you meet them at the after party, it's more of a relaxed environment. You can kind of talk a little bit. Normally, before the show, everybody's in game mode, especially if they're doing a taping. You got to get your wardrobe, you got to get your makeup and all of that. But for the majority of the people I've met are pretty cool. I have met a couple that I really didn't like. But, when you meet somebody and you can tell they're in a bad mood, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I haven't really been starstruck. Bruce was cool. He's a big guy.
Right.
And I'm like, man, how much material do you need to make that suit jacket? But he's a happy dude, always smiling, can take a joke.
Yeah.
So the majority of the people I've hung out with, man, it was just cool. Shaq was probably like the biggest, like just looking at him like, wow, he does exist.
Right.
This dude is tall.
Right.
His son walked in, he was tall.
Oh, wow.
His wife was, about 5 foot or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was just weird, like them walking down the street, like he holding your hand. And it was cool, man. But, the majority of the people I've met have been cool. It's been a blessing.
It kills me when I watch your comedy, your facial expression. Your facial expression reminds me of Arnez J.
Yeah.
Your Arnez J be having no facial expression, be killing me. And y'all stay in character too.
Yeah.
And I know that sometimes gotta be hard to do. Y'all stay in that character. Y'all do not break for nothing.
Yeah. Well, I would like to think that for the first few years of my career, I was an actor playing the role of a comedian. That's the main reason I got into comedy, because I knew it would open doors. Doing the speech team and different things, acting in plays. For a while I would do characters. I would do Bill Cosby, I would do my grandma, I would do little kid voices and whatnot. So it was, I think The facial expressions add to it because it helps give you the visual aid to kind of bring out, you know, what I'm trying to say. So yeah, facial expressions are half the battle.
Yeah, we'd like to talk to you about talking about people that be snoring in your comedy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm watching that. Yeah. I'm like, he's talking about me.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought up acting because that's exactly what I'd like to talk about next. So tell us about the movies you've been in, the ones that you're doing, because like I think
I got some new stuff coming out.
Just hot in the game right now. So what's going on?
Man, it's been a blessing. I did a couple of movies in the past. My first movie was a Get Together, written by Chicago legend comic B. Cole.
Okay.
I had Tony Roberts and Michael Collier and a bunch of comics. That was a real good film. I've done a movie called The Roost with King B Entertainment. More recently, a few years ago, I did a movie with Robert Townsend and Angela Bassett.
Oh, is that right?
It's called Of Boys and Men.
Oh,
really
nice.
good movie. Yeah, I played the
And
dad.
Robert Townsend's from Chicago
He's from
too,
Chicago,
I believe.
West
Yeah.
Side, yeah. More recently, I just finished a film called Disconnection Notice. Funny movie, and it's my first major role.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Normally, I'm the funny guy on the side, but in this movie, I'm like one of the main characters.
Oh wow.
And yeah, there's a guy that, you know, he gets this disconnection notice. His girlfriend is tired of him. She's like, hey, if you get these lights cut off, I'm leaving.
Right.
And we go through, me and this guy, Myron Jules, another comic from Milwaukee. During that whole week, we're just trying to figure out how we're going to pay the bill, how we're going to keep the lights on, how I'm going to keep my girlfriend in it.
Yeah.
They got Rodney Perry in it and Kelly Kells from Milwaukee, Just Niche, Tanisha Rice from Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's a good film. We're doing a premiere in Milwaukee in May.
Oh, wonderful.
We're gonna try to do one in Chicago, and the casting for this was strategically genius because they picked comics from different cities. Atlanta, you know, Houston.
Yeah.
That way, when the movie comes out, you got people in all these different states promoting it. So
Absolutely.
it'll probably be coming out on Netflix pretty soon. I'm right now currently working on a movie called All for the Money.
Okay.
Where I get to do some character work. I play an old guy, Eddie Wilson. Eddie's going through a lot. He just moved out of his mama's house. So
He just
got to be
moved out.
70.
Must be 70.
Yeah, but that's
Finally
fun.
made it.
Yeah, that's fun. They do the makeup and the beard, and they got the hat on. So y'all look out for that movie, All for the Money, Disconnection Notice. And man, it's a lot going on right now.
All for the Money, Disconnection Notice. All right, that is
yes.
I got
wonderful.
another movie that's hitting the film
wait.
festivals called The Call Center.
Call center.
Call Center. Look out for Call Center. It's a funny movie, man.
Call Center,
Yep,
okay.
Call Center.
Please keep us in the loop on that.
Yes.
Definitely check those out. We love
Yes.
Netflix, so
Yeah.
you have our support.
Hey, I
Definitely.
need that. I need that love.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got another question, baby?
So let's talk about what you're gonna be doing in 5 years. I like that 5 year because it's not too long-term goal and it's not like a near-term goal, but it's right in that sweet spot that you can project out. I mean, everything is going well for you now. Just blowing up. Where do you see yourself? We'd like you to come back in 5 years too.
Yeah, definitely.
You heard that?
Yeah.
Right, we got him on camera.
In 5 years, I would love to be doing more acting. That's really a big passion of mine.
Right.
I'm working with some people that are talking about opening up a comedy club in Chicago. I would love to get behind the scenes. I've been doing comedy 18 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I'm getting close to retirement.
Right.
And retirement doesn't mean you just stop working. Now you start to do
They
more.
call it
of the things.
rewiring, not retiring now. Yeah.
So in 5 years, I would love to be doing movies on the big screen, possibly have my own TV show. I want to open up a comedy club / comedy school. I want to teach improv.
Yes.
You know, I want to teach people how to write jokes and kind of find ways to give back. Because I've done so much, you know, and you get to a point, it's like, I want to make it and get to the point where I can bring up the next star.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Start helping
That
those
is
people
so good
out,
to hear. That's and we're all about that.
Yeah, we all about the community, helping people, and blessing individuals. So we love your vision, man. That's an excellent
thank
vision.
You.
And I can
thank
see
you
you
for
on the big
sharing.
screen.
Yeah,
I definitely can see you on the big
too
screen.
easy. And the progression, the way it's going, you know, they say if you just keep doing something long enough, it'll pay off.
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
The calls are coming in.
Exactly. There you go.
I just
he's sifting through offers.
Yeah, but I just you know I've never been a big fan of California, the whole Los Angeles scene.
Yeah.
That's where they make the movies.
Yeah.
Eventually, that's where I'll have to go. But we're making a lot of good movies in the Midwest. They're making some good movies in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I would love to work in LA. I will move there if I have to, but it's such a crazy place. You know, I'm a Chicago boy. You know, I love my city.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm looking forward to moving around a lot more, but I'll probably be one of the Bernie Mac types to where I'll go work out there
and then come
back home.
Now, for as far as your shows, you do your own booking, you got an agent, or you your own agent?
For the most part, I book the majority of my shows. I do have a manager. It's more of a business manager with all worldwide power entertainment. And they kind of get me in spots that I couldn't just get in myself. I just recently interviewed Dorian Fletcher. She's the main jeweler that made the jewelry for the Black Panther movie. Yeah, young sister, bright. She does a lot of the stuff, most of the stuff herself. So my manager helped, my buddy JB helped me get in that realm. We hosted that at the Soho House. And it was
a nice place.
Real nice. And it was different because it wasn't like me just doing a show. I sat her down, I interviewed her, I had to do research. You know, I watched YouTube videos, and it was good to be able to flip the script and sit on the couch with somebody and pick their brain and kind of find out and then add jokes in there. So that's really, you know, the direction that I'm going. But
that's wonderful.
For the most part, I book most of my own shows, but you know, I'm always looking for help.
Awesome.
Very quickly, in 30 seconds, your favorite comedian and why of all time. You know, just that one that just did it for you.
That's so hard. If I had to pick one, it would be Dave Chappelle. His viewpoint is priceless. He's an equal opportunity racist. You know?
Equal opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of comics focus on the race. You talk about blacks, you talk about whites. He talked about everybody, and his point of view was so simple yet so complex that you don't know what he's gonna say next. You don't know his point of view. The spin on a lot of his jokes are priceless. It's just Dave Chappelle, and the main thing that makes me pick him is people feel like they have to do whatever they have to do to make it. That man walked away from what, $50 million? Walked away from the show. It's a bunch of different, but it was such a blessing for him to come back and get $50-60 million for his Netflix special. So it just shows that you don't have to wear the dress, you don't have to disrespect your race, you don't have to, you know, do things that you don't want to do to make it. And I think that he's proof that if you just stick to your guns, then everything that's meant for you will happen.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So we thank you. We thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, as we get ready to close out, as always, we thank God for his unmerited, undeserving favor called grace. For grace, you can't work for grace, you can't buy it. It is simply what God has given to each and every one of us, because we believe that Christ died for our sins, that he was buried, and he rose again the third day for our justification. On behalf of myself, my beautiful wife Melissa, and Brian, the Wildcat Smith, be blessed.
Bye-bye.
All right.
DJ C Major with the flavor.